Hey guys, and welcome back. Paint by number is the subject of this video today, and let me tell you, you're in for a treat. Stay tuned. Hey YouTube, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for continuing to support me and what I do. Today we have a very interesting video. I call this one Paint by Number Train Wreck, and just to give you a little bit of insight, my husband and I were watching some YouTube one night, and I guess about the third or fourth video that we came across was like a paint by number. So I was like, hey, let's click on this and, see what this is all about, because I had never heard of it before. So this young lady, she was basically doing what you see me do right here. She was following a number system, and she was just filling in with her paintbrush, and she was just giving some information while she was painting, saying, what to expect when you receive your paint by number box. And she talked about the paint brushes and if the paint was too liquidy or if it was too solid and what to do and things of that nature. And watching her do it, it looked really interesting. And I thought to myself, I was like, oh, this would be really neat to try. I'm very creative and I like doing new and different things. I'm very passionate about just trying new things, just to see if I'm good at it or if I like it. And so I leaned over to my husband. I was like, oh, that'd be really cool to try. I would love to maybe do a paint by number. And he didn't really say much, so I didn't think anything of it. And the next day he walks through the door, honey, with this paint by number box, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is great. He had the paint by number box in one hand and he had an easel in the other hand, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is like so awesome. I get to do the paint by number. I was like super excited about it because I had never done it before, and I'd just seen it on TV the day before. So I looked at it, and it was so beautiful, and it was like this beautiful sky with these like blues and clouds, and it was so gorgeous, and the lighthouse and the boat, and there are two people in the boat, and the rocks and the house and the fence and this like blue ocean water. And I was just like super excited, and I was like, oh, I can't wait. I'm gonna get my easel put together. I'm taking the stuff out of the box, and I'm just kind of taking a look at it. And I look a little bit closer, and this paint by number is like for an expert, because literally, guys, it's like these itty bitty little, like, I don't know what you call them. They're like little dots almost. They're so small. I mean, there's some areas that are bigger, you can see here, but they are like literally so tiny. And I'm starting on the sky because I was like, ooh, I want to start with sky because it was like the prettiest part about it, in my mind. And the more I go, right, the longer I go, the more my back starts to hurt, and then I got to start to lean in, one way to get my back to stop hurting, and my shoulders start hurting. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, I might have bit off a little more than I could chew. So then I started talking to my husband. I was like, hey, you can find me something a little bit easier, like a paint by number for like elementary students or something, like for some children. I mean something, I wasn't thinking it all the way through. But yeah, this one is particularly one for an expert, somebody who either knows how to paint or has done this before, because I was struggling, let me tell you. But anyway, so he was like, I picked up this paint by number, and I thought it was something you go like. I'm like, I do like it, but it's like going to take me forever to do. So anyway, guys, I was having a lot of fun here. But definitely, this was definitely not something that I researched beforehand. I was just like, hey, this would be a really good idea. And my husband, he's so supportive, so he just went out and bought it. So I was just like, hey, I'm kind of stuck with it now, so I got to make the best out of it. So right about here, I was like, I'm so sick and tired of doing the blues, but I just needed another color. I needed to do something different. So I said, I'm going to just tackle this sun and these beautiful rays that's coming through the clouds. So that was really nice. It kind of broke up the monotony of the other like blue clouds and the blues in the painting. And now you see I'm working with this. It's really beautiful. It's kind of hard to see here. It looks gray through the screen, but it's actually like a metallic purple, or like a purple with like a purplish gray with a little bit of not glitter, but it glistened just a little bit, and it was so beautiful. It was one of the prettiest colors that was actually in the box. So as you see, I'm just kind of going cloud by cloud, section by section, until I get done with this particular color here. All right, so I'm back to the blues now, and this particular section was the first time they had me mix two colors together. So it's supposed to be between the light blue and the dark blue. So if you take a look, you can barely see the difference when I step back when I was actually painting the photo. Or the painting, excuse me. I could see the variation just a little bit, but I think what I probably should have done was add a little bit more light blue, just to kind of bring it out of the background just a little bit more. It does kind of blend in, but so this is me mixing. I think it was number 5 and number 6. So number 5 was a lighter blue, and number 6 was the darker blue. I mixed those together, so that foil, that tin foil you see in my hand, was a mix of the two. And so that was my first time actually mixing with this particular project. Okay, this is where I started getting into trouble. So I decided to take a break from the sky and start on the sailboat. What you can't see, literally, in that sailboat, there must have been 1,000 numbers in there, and they were like miniature numbers. And I was thinking to myself, like, there is absolutely no way that I'm going to sit here and paint each individual number. First of all, the colors are going to bleed into the color. One color is going to bleed into the other color, so it's not going to work anyway. Even though I had, and we picked out really, really small paintbrush heads, but it didn't matter, because as soon as I went in on that sailboat, literally the numbers, they were just way too small. Realistically, I think they should have broken up the boat into larger spaces. I mean, there was just no way. So as you can see, I just kind of made the sailboat my own. Originally, it's supposed to have 559 and just some other intricate details and things of that nature. But I was just like, oh, well, whatever. And I just kind of did whatever I wanted to do with the boat. So the boat isn't exactly to spec, but it looks decent. So that was the idea. So I'm putting the lights on. I'm turning the lights on in all of the houses. And you see the reflection there in the water. And I was just like, okay, now I'm going to go ahead on and take a look at getting the ocean waves and try to get those looking decent. And then as you can see here, it just kept going further and further. Like, I just kept going down the slippery slope. It just got worse and worse. And I was just like, it was like a billion tiny little little dots and different changes and mixtures of colors, and it was painful. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to make some really dark, like, ocean waves, and then I'm just going to come through with one color, one dark blue color, and just was like, just go with it, right? So this is not going to be the spec either. I was just like, okay, I'm going to be honest, guys. If I actually did it the way I was supposed to do it, it probably would have taken me 2 months to do this thing. And we all know I definitely don't have 2 months of time, for sure. So what I decided to do was just to kind of like graze over this part as much as possible. It looked really bad at first to me, and I thought, okay, well, I'm definitely not going to put this on the air for people to see. But I'm like, people need to know that this is hard, and not everything that I do turns out perfectly. And I think we learn, right, from a lot of our experiences. So as you see, I'm filling in the dark blue, filling in the medium blue. The actual dark blue waves don't look so bad now. So when I stepped back and looked at it, I'm like, okay, it's not so bad. I'm kind of covering up a lot of the imperfections here. So while it looks nothing like the photo that I received or that was on the front of the box, it didn't look as bad as when I started. Okay, so I really enjoyed this part. This part was really enjoyable for me. And this was where I was putting in the grass. So like the grass, the bushes, and all the greenery. That was a lot of fun. Even though it was a really, really small area in there, I found that fun. And I'm coming through now with the fence, which surprisingly, it's really hard to do straight lines. And that was the trouble I was getting into with the boat and the sails, is they wanted you to make these straight lines. But the paintbrush, I noticed, does not want to go in straight lines. So every time I tried to go in a line, the paintbrush would go to the right or it would swing to the left. And it was so super frustrating, guys. I'm trying to tell you. I was like, oh my goodness, just please go in a straight line. Can you do that for me? So you can't really see it from here, but they aren't real straight lines. But I think so far it's turning out pretty good. You guys let me know what you think in the description box below. Okay, so the idea here is like a rock face. type of design that the house and the lighthouse and the houses are sitting on. But as you can see, as I get a little further down in here, it looks like a mudslide. So that's what I dubbed it, the mudslide, because it most definitely does not look like the picture. It looks like some rocks and a bunch of mud. But anyway, it didn't turn out too horrible. But, and I think it does give a little bit of variation from the grass and the actual ocean and the sky. But it did not turn out how I hoped it would. So basically, I dubbed that part of my painting the mudslide instead of the rock formation. So I colored the two people in on the boat, and I'm just doing some finishing touches here. Lots and lots of fun doing the lighthouse here. You see I'm painting that gray. Again, tough time with trying to get my paintbrush to go in vertical lines. It kept wanting to swoosh to the left or swoosh to the right. Also here, I had a lot of fun with doing the houses. The houses aren't as big as they appear here, but I could tell toward the end I was getting just a little bit better. It could be that, or I'm nearing the end, so I'm just happy that I'm almost done.
I heard that. That's not what really happened. Let me tell my side of the story.